The riches are in the niches. You've probably heard that before, but what does it actually mean? Well, choosing the right niche is the key to standing out and making consistent profits in your print-on-demand business. In this episode, you're gonna learn how to avoid broad markets, tap into passionate buyer groups, and to build a brand that your customers love. We're also gonna share actual examples of niche-specific 6, 7, and even 8-figure apparel brands, and sharing our 10-minute niche selection challenge so you can take action today and start building your dream brand. My name is Adrian Von Arx, here with my co-host Carlos Colon. Welcome to the Print on Demand podcast, a show dedicated to helping you make money online with Shopify and print on demand. What's up? Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. In our last episode, we introduced the ELA method, which is our 4-step system that we teach in our training and coaching program, T-Shirt Legends Academy, for building a profitable brand, attracting your ideal customers, and making the money you deserve. And in this episode, we're actually gonna drill down on the very first pillar of the ELA method. We're gonna take a deep dive on niche, brand, but more specifically niche. So I'm gonna talk about that shortly, but before we get into it, for anyone watching on YouTube, you might notice I'm wearing a Texas Longhorns shirt as an ode to my brother and our co-host, a UT Austin alumni, Carlos. What's going on?
Hey, doing great. Kids just got the colds, so we've been kind of like hampering down. My daughter got sick first, and then she loves to hug my son, and so she was hugging Xavier, and he eventually got sick from that. So now we have two sick kids in the house.
Yikes. Well, I
love the burnt orange though, man. Love the burnt orange.
Hey, hook 'em horns.
Loving it. Hook 'em horns.
I love wearing this shirt because it brings back so many incredible memories of you and me walking the UT Austin campus and just trying to figure out ways to unlock more freedom and fulfillment in our life. And that led to everything. That led to everything we do now and to working together. And I just have such fond memories of those walks. That's kind of where it all started. So
the inspiration.
What's that?
The inspiration.
Absolutely. Well, what do you say we jump into today's kind of main event?
Yeah, man. I'm excited for this. This is a great one.
Good. We've got, for today's episode, we're actually going to break this down into 3 parts. We're going to start with the benefits of niching down. Then we're going to talk about some 6-figure niches. And we're going to reveal some apparel brands that are just absolutely crushing it that you can use as inspiration. And then we're going to end off with our 10-minute niche selection challenge, which we want everyone to do as soon as they get off listening to this episode. All right, so part 1, the benefits of niching down. And a niche, for anyone that isn't familiar or finds it hard to understand, which it is a little confusing, but a niche is really just a specific segment of the population for your products. That's it. So for example, if you create apparel for pitbull lovers, your niche is pitbull lovers. And there are really so many benefits to niching down, but we're just gonna focus on 3 here. So benefit number 1, this is huge. It's easier to stand out in a crowded market. How many times, Carlos, have you heard the t-shirts are oversaturated? And
all the time.
My immediate response is, yeah, they are if you're selling t-shirts to everyone, but that should never be the goal. If you're targeting Christians who love to go to the gym, how many t-shirt brands are there in that niche? I know there's some, but I mean, is it super saturated? I would argue that it's not, because I actually know multiple brands in that niche, both for Christians who love the gym, who are crushing it. Whole Strength is one of them, who I'm gonna name drop later. But niching down, it really helps you differentiate your brand and your products in a saturated space like t-shirts. And I'm not even saying you have to sell t-shirts. It doesn't have to be the only product you sell. You don't have to sell t-shirts at all. There's other ways to niche down. You can niche down by product type, right? But
yeah, Adrian, I just want to mention one thing.
Go ahead.
Here, which is a really good point. You know, there's tons of saturated markets, and the easiest way to unsaturate a market is to niche down. There we go. right?
Yeah.
You carve out a piece of that population that you want to serve, and now you're going after those specific people. Maybe you're going after, I don't know, maybe runners, right? And maybe you're selling footwear, and you want to compete against Nike. The easiest way to compete against Nike is to go for a specific type of runner, a specific type, and make everything about them. Because now Nike, when someone walks into a Nike store, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different than when they're looking at your store. When they're looking at your store, they only find the stuff about their interest, about their specific interest. So what's gonna be more efficient for them? It's gonna be going to your store. And what's gonna be more interesting for them going to your store? Because every single product is tailored to them.
Right. So true. So true. Like, we believe that creating a brand that aligns with your target audience's values, that makes them feel like that brand was made for them, is one of the most powerful things you can do to separate yourself from the pack. And what this does too is, instead of just creating a t-shirt business, you're actually creating a brand. You're creating a movement. And this, in a lot of cases, will increase your perceived value if you do a good job on the branding and the designs and all that kind of stuff, right? And with increased perceived value, you can charge higher prices and you'll still have customers coming back again and again, instead of going to the person wherever who's selling general t-shirts in every category under the sun for $15, right? They feel like they're part of something. Your brand's values align with theirs, and people love that. I think we're living in a day and age, man, where people are really craving connection, and even connection to brands. This is why we're seeing brands like Whole Strength blow up, who are for Christians who love to go to the gym, right? Very specific, but people want to share their values, and they want to feel like everything this brand does is with me in mind. You know what I mean? Like, this brand was made for me. So instead of just creating a brand for everyone and creating a brand for everyone and quote, not leaving money on the table, which I think is just such backwards thinking when it comes to this.
We see it so often that
I've been guilty of this in the past. I remember my first brand. I was like, am I leaving money on the table? No. Like, look at the brand succeeding with staying power. You know what I mean? You don't want to compete with Walmart and Target.
It comes down to scarcity mindset. I think it's hard. It's hard when you're first starting, because you're like, oh, I wanted to tackle this niche. There is a strategy for that, a volumes-based strategy, but it's not the same as the targeted strategy. And it's harder to run ads, for instance, and to build an audience around something like that. That's more of a general store. Very difficult.
You just touched on benefit number 2. That was the perfect segue into the second benefit, because this is freaking huge. The second benefit of niching down is that more targeted marketing equals better conversions. When you know exactly who you're speaking to, your ads, your social posts, your emails, your product descriptions become more relevant and evoke more emotion, leading to a higher engagement in sales. This is massive. Like, we have benefited so much from this, from that level of differentiation, because it's so much easier to talk to one specific targeted group than it is to talk to everyone and actually evoke emotion and relatability and motivate them enough to pull out their credit card and want to support your brand, right?
It's a huge difference.
Everything is easier when you get crystal clear in your niche. Your ads, your marketing, social media, email, everything across the board, it becomes much more clear. Carlos, do you want to say anything about that?
No, just that you said it well. Like, it makes a huge difference in your marketing, how well niche you are. And I mean, going general versus going niche, it's your marketing is significantly easier going niche.
Yep. And benefit number 3, I kind of touched on it already, but really that's stronger brand loyalty and repeat customers. So having that well-defined niche, that crystal clear niche, what this does is it fosters that sense of community. When customers feel like a brand, quote, gets them, they're much more likely to return, refer others who, many of them, if they're in this niche, they probably have friends in that niche, and even pay premium prices for products that are tailored to their identity and interest. Carlos, any thoughts?
No, I mean, it makes sense. It's
Right.
You're building brand loyalty because it's a brand that is pretty much all tailored to them.
Totally. And I think people are surprised when they actually commit to a niche and actually start seeing results and start building up their brand, how few kind of competitors there are when you get quite niche. All right. Now, just before we get into six-figure niches, I want to kind of talk about some popular niche categories. But before we do that, I just want to really quickly talk about, this is kind of relevant to the benefits of niching down, because a lot of people, they're very afraid of offering more premium prices, or I would even argue not even premium, like mid-tier prices, because they look at other brands. Maybe they're looking at a company like a shop on Etsy or a shop on Amazon or something like that, and they're seeing like them selling shirts for like $15, $18, where they're hardly making any profit at all. And they're like, how do I compete with that? Well, you don't. You don't. What you do is you differentiate yourself from that brand, and you focus on building a brand. And where I'm going with this is that Carlos and I, in T-Shirt Legends Academy, Carlos and I have a $10,000 call for our students. So any student that hits $10,000 in their first year, they unlock a free one-on-one strategy call with Carlos and I, and we've actually done a lot. Just in the last couple of months, we've done a lot of $10,000 calls. And one consistent trend amongst every brand that we did that call with, every single one was they offered, quote, premium prices. $29, $32, $34, $35 for a t-shirt. And they're doing really well. They're making a lot of sales because they unlocked that call, right? And I just want to encourage people, like, when you do a good job of differentiating yourself and niching down, carving out that niche, you can, and creating a higher perceived value, you can ask those higher prices. And I think you'll be surprised how many people will pay them, because not everyone's price sensitive. A lot of people are not price sensitive. And a lot of people, myself included, I don't want to buy an $18 t-shirt. I just would automatically assume that the quality was bad and that it just, like, I don't know. I can't imagine an $18 t-shirt feeling great. And I'm sure a lot of them do, but like, I'm not bougie. I'm not going out and spending $80 on a t-shirt, but I'm also not going to buy an $18 t-shirt. So I just want to like kind of break that stereotype. Like, a lot of people, they think they have to compete on price, but like, you don't have to compete on price if you're doing a really good job on the differentiation part, and niche is a big part of that. So let's roll into the six-figure niches here. I want to start by talking about some popular niche categories, because you might be listening to this and thinking, all right, I'm excited. I want to niche down. I'm ready to go. What are some niche categories? Like, what are some ideas? Well, we want to offer you some ideas to get that hamster wheel spinning so that you can come up with which niche you want to serve. And maybe you already have one, and that's awesome. If it's working for you, great. Just keep going with that. Maybe you're at a place where you're like not too sure, and you're like, should I pivot? Should I go into another niche? Well, hopefully this brings some clarity for you. So I just want to break down some popular niche categories, and then I'm going to get a little bit more specific. So I'm just going to just rapid fire off these popular niche categories. So we got pets, we've got animals, we've got career, sports, activism, religion, politics, identity, hobbies, special interests. And what we recommend is selecting one of these niche categories. Now, there's others that I'm sure I didn't mention, but I'm just trying to get the hamster wheel spinning in your mind to start thinking about this. Once you've selected one of those niche categories, you're like, okay, I think I want to go into like pets or something like that, right? The next thing you want to do is generally you'd want to drill down deeper. Like, I would never tell someone to just start a brand dedicated to pets, because you have to serve so many different audiences. There's so many different types of pets, and that would be really challenging for the branding, the marketing, the messaging, everything. And it's going to be hard to evoke emotion and relatability for one type of pet owner if you're trying to also market to 20 other types of pet owners, right? It's just too broad. Like, choose one and go all in on that. So let's talk about drilling down deeper. I actually want to give you examples. So I want to give you examples of drilling down deeper. So I'm going to talk about each of those categories and then give you kind of like that one level deeper example. And you could even go deeper than this. This is just kind of the beginning. So pets, you could target cats. Maybe you go deeper. Maybe you target female cat lovers. Maybe you go deeper. Funny shirts for female cat lovers, right? See where I'm going with this? Animals, maybe you target elephants. Careers, maybe you target nursing, teaching, something like that. Sports, so many different sports you could target. Hiking is a really popular one. There's so many successful brands in different niches. Hiking is one that I know of multiple 6, 7, and even 8-figure brands dedicated to that niche. Activism, an example of that would be social justice. Religion, an example would be Christianity. You could do Christians who love to lift. That's cross-niching. Politics. So, do you want to serve Democrats? Do you want to serve Republicans, or other parties in other countries? Identity. So LGBTQ plus. That's a niche that you could serve. Hobbies. So a really popular hobby right now, a really popular niche right now is book lovers, and that's just one of so many examples. Wine lovers, coffee lovers, the list goes on. And then special interests. So special interests could be something like patriotism. These are all just examples of like layering, going a layer deeper. Now, I want to actually share some examples of big apparel brands that are in some different niches. So national parks, the national parks niche. There's a massive brand called the Parks Project. Elephants, there's a big apparel brand called Ivory Ella. Christianity, huge brand in the Christian niche called Elevated Faith, big brand. Christian gym lovers, I mentioned them earlier, Whole Strength. We love talking about Whole Strength because they've just done such a good job of carving up that niche. Hiking, Keep Nature Wild. Shout out to Keep Nature Wild, Arizona brand. I'm in Arizona, so gotta love them. CrossFit niche, Constantly Varied Gear. LGBTQ plus, Gay Pride Apparel, another big brand. Mental health, self-care is for everyone. That's the name of the brand. That's another very big brand. These are all big, successful brands, and I wanted to point out the specific niche for each, just so that you can go and research them if they're in your niche, use them as inspiration. But there's so many more than this. This is just a tiny fraction of successful brands that have really done a good job when it comes to niching down. Carlos, any thoughts?
Yeah, and one thing to, I guess, be aware of too is when you are looking at these different niches, think, is there a cohesive movement around this specific niche, or is it actually broken into other niches? So, for instance, Adrian talked about pets and dogs and cats. Dog lovers and cat lovers are you're going to be speaking to two different niches there. Whereas, say mental health, for instance, right? Mental health, there's lots of different pieces of mental health that people are passionate about. Like, for instance, there's the Happiness Project. They're another big brand, and they focus on mental health, but their big thing is suicide prevention, right? And awareness and reducing stigma and everything of depression. And so I think that for these big ones, always look to see, is it actually cohesive? Like everybody's passionate about this specific thing, or are they passionate about a piece of this? And if they're passionate about a piece of this, go after that.
Totally. So many times, you could even go a layer deeper from some of these really big brands, and you can dominate a quote sub niche, right? But all right, let's move into kind of the third part of this episode, and that is, I'm so excited for this, the 10-minute niche selection challenge. So here's how it goes. There's a couple different parts to it. So first, I want you to set a timer for 10 minutes and write down 10 of your passions, 10 things that you're passionate about. And don't overthink this. Think about what you do in a day. Think about what you do on weekends. Look around your house and see if there's, some things that show your passions, right? Second, circle the passions that you are the best at. So circle the passions that you're the best at and know the most about, and that something, preferably that you love talking about. Now, you might already have people coming to you for advice on this. I know a lot of people who are super passionate about topics. You don't have to have a degree. You don't have to have any specialized training. You're just passionate about this and you know more than kind of the average person, right? So circle the passions that you're the best at of those 10 that you wrote down. Next, conduct simple market research to determine if it's profitable. Just like you want to validate your designs, you want to validate your niche, right? If you're going really niche, let's say you're targeting Native American astronauts, well, you're probably not going to find any successful brands doing that. And we know that competition signals demand. So you have to find some groups, some audiences, some brands, some special interest groups where people are talking about this passion. And you don't need to spend a lot of time on this. A lot of them you're already going to know. If you're like, oh, I want to create a brand for female cat lovers. Well, just Google how many female cat lovers there are in America alone. And I'm sure you'll know right away that it's a very profitable niche, right? So spend a few minutes, just a few, conducting simple market research to determine if the niche is profitable. If you already know, cool, then you can skip this step altogether. But if you don't know, then I recommend starting by just running a Google search. Ask ChatGPT or look for validation on platforms like Instagram or Etsy. If you see a lot of products, brands, or passionate groups and communities in a particular niche, that is generally a very good indicator that it's profitable. Because like I said, competition signals demand. I actually want you to embrace competition. All right. And then step 4, you're going to select one of the remaining niches and narrow it down if it's too broad. So maybe you circled pets. Let's get more specific there, right? You don't want to target every pet owner. It's going to be really hard to market to them. And so get more specific. And we already gave you examples of narrowing down multiple layers. Maybe you want to narrow down multiple layers, right? But you don't want to be too broad. It makes things much more challenging. And generally, we see those brands struggle a lot more than we do the brands that niche down. So that's it. That's the 10-minute niche selection challenge. Here's the thing. You don't need a month. You don't need a week. You don't even need a day to determine your niche. I want to challenge you because I used to be like that. When I first started out, I really overthought the niche. I thought I was leaving money on the table by niching down too much and wanted to go more broad. But I didn't. Because I had a mentor, and my mentor was like, no, this is the way. This is the way that I've had success, and this is the way that my students have success. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take my advice from this person who has the receipts, this person who I know has been where I want to go. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made for my business, because I think it would have been I know it would have been a lot more challenging if I didn't niche down. So, when it comes to niche selection, I really want to encourage you. I want to hold your feet to the fire and encourage you to come up with this quite quickly, right? Our goal is to create the quickest path to sales and profitability for you. And I want to get you focusing, want to get you focusing on sales generating activity as soon as possible. And that's why we move fast on things here. Like everything we teach, of course, is self-paced. But if you're like, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to take action, I'm ready to do the things, like I want to challenge you to make pretty ambitious deadlines for yourself, right? Like set ambitious artificial deadlines like the 10-minute niche selection challenge. So I gave you kind of like the 4 points of the niche selection challenge. After this episode, I want you to go and I want you to do this. And I would love for you to come up with your niche in 10 minutes. And hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know in the comments. Let us know what niche you decided on. It would be so cool hearing that you took part in the 10-minute niche selection challenge and you actually came up with one. Now, the last thing I want to mention, this is kind of in line with the niche selection challenge, is something I want to share with you we call the 3 Ps of niche selection. So there are really 3 P's that we want you to focus on. One is passion. Is this a niche that you and a lot of other people are passionate about? Second is proficiency. Is this a niche that you're proficient in? You don't have to have a degree. You don't have to be an expert, but something that you know more about than the average person. And then the third P is profitable. Is there validation to know that the niche is profitable? You might know this already. You might need a couple of minutes to go do research. Don't spend too much time on this. I don't want you getting lost in the weeds, right? Make this really, really quick. It's, Carlos, anything you want to kind of share there?
Yeah. So there's some really good tools for researching your niche. So for instance, you want to find these competitors, first of all, and you want to make sure that they're actually successful. So a great tool that I've used is just ChatGPT. Use ChatGPT. Say, okay, find me the top 10 t-shirt brands that cater to this niche, and then say your niche, right? Boom. Funny clothing for female cat lovers, or whatever your niche is. And make sure that your niche is easy to understand, because otherwise ChatGPT is going to give you like some weird stuff because it just won't understand, right? Make sure it's very simple and easy to understand. And that's actually that should be like a given for any niche that you select. Should be easy to understand, right? Because if ChatGPT can't understand, other people can't either, probably. Now, when you find those competitors, what you want to do is you want to make sure that they're actually profitable. And so you want to look at things like, okay, how many reviews do they have? Do they actually have anything that indicates that success? So do they say, oh, I've donated 15% of my profits to this charity, and I've so far donated over $300,000. Then it's like, okay, yeah, so they're success. They're doing some sort of success there. And then as well, look at their social media profiles. Yeah. Right. How many followers do they have? How many people are passionate enough to actually follow them? So reviews, social media profiles, any indicators.
Totally agree. Like there's so many indicators. Look for buyer intent. How many people are actually engaging with them on social media? How many people are saying they bought their product, that they want to buy their product, right? There's a lot of indicators out there.
Yeah. So, don't skip the research.
Exactly. We are big researchers. Doing the research is going to save you so much time in the following steps. And this isn't just for niche. This is for designs. This is for marketing. This is across the board. So as we kind of land the plane here on this episode, I hope you guys found this really helpful. I want to let you know that we do have a bunch of free resources that you can find in the show notes, including our 60-minute masterclass, where I reveal the strategy that I use to generate multiple millions in revenue across 2 apparel brands using Shopify and print on demand. And we discuss how you can get direct coaching from Carlos and I through our paid training and coaching program, T-Shirt Legends Academy, if that's something you're looking for. But we have both free and paid resources. Take what you want. We don't gatekeep here. We don't believe in it. We just want to support you. We believe that there's always room for great new brands, and we want to see you win. That's why we do this podcast, and that's why we're going to keep rolling out episodes. So with that, we're going to sign off. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. Like a deep, heartfelt thank you from us. This is a new podcast. We appreciate you being one of our pioneer listeners. We want you to remember to start before you're ready, take imperfect action, and know that you're always one design away.
Hey, if you're loving the Print on Demand podcast and want more, please help us out by rating this on Apple, Spotify, or whatever you're listening from. It only takes a minute, and this is one of the best ways to support the show and let us know that you're enjoying these weekly episodes. Thank you in advance, and we'll talk soon.